Shut up!
Welcome back to the JarrettCast. I'm your host, Jarrett Lang, and for this episode of the JarrettCast, I wanted to talk about a sequel no one asked for. A sequel that probably shouldn't have come out. And no, I'm not talking about this episode of the JarrettCast, if only. I wanted to talk about the sequel to the 1990 film, Kindergarten Cop. This direct-to-video movie belongs directly in the trash. Like, I'm serious. I can't even begin on what I hate with this film. It took all my will to make myself watch this film. This film is about strong FBI agent Zach Reed, who has to go into kindergarten to solve a crime. So this is basically Kindergarten Cop 1, just minus Arnold Schwarzenegger, and pepper in some jokes about how kindergarten is different today. Let me start off with the acting here. Dolph Lundgren. He is the main character in this film. Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't want to come back for the sequel. I can see why. He plays FBI guy Zach Reed, who has to solve the crime. But he doesn't act like he's, his real accent. He tries his best at an American accent, and it just fails miserably. He sounds like he's trying to imitate Derek Zoolander. Let me give you an example here. He talks like this, and I am FBI agent Zach Reed. I don't know why, it's with Z's and very strong S's, he just can't do it. He can't, not at all. And even accent aside, his acting's just terrible in this film. He's essentially just a piece of cardboard. People talk at him, and when he tries talking back, it just doesn't work at all. Bill Bellamy plays Dolph Lundgren's partner in the movie. He's another one of the main characters. He doesn't do a good job at all. He just acts like a partner would. And there's nothing special to his character. Nothing that outwardly makes it good at all. He's just there. I don't know how to describe it. It's just, he's there. But he doesn't add anything. He's just there for, I don't know. He seems like an extra at some points. Just there when he doesn't need to be. There's other characters too. Sarah Strange plays this headmistress lady. I forgot her name, but she was forgettable too. She's just overly cautious, and she has this 3-strike rule, but it doesn't make any sense. She doesn't add any comedy to it. Other characters include this IT guy, still not funny even when he's trying to be outwardly awkward. I called dibs on her. You broke the bro code. Oh, hey, I need a friend. No, it's not that good at all. Just nothing. There's this one love interest lady, Miss Hallstrom is her character's name. I forgot the actress that played her. She was a forgettable role too. Though I have to say the villain wasn't forgettable, it wasn't for a good reason. He reminded me that, a lot of these action movies just have the stereotypical, non-American mob boss who has to do this, it has to do that, and I don't want to go to jail. He plays that character, and it's just the same. He eats a raw fish at some point. That was the only defining feature of him. The child actors were just the same. They were just kids, and they ran around and screamed, and they cried a couple of times. It just wasn't that good. And maybe it was just due to the child actors' inexperience, or it could have just been because of something else, like direction or writing. But they weren't good either. Just all around, this film's acting is just bad. This is not B-movie tier acting either. This is Z-movie tier acting. Since this film's an action comedy, I have to analyze both parts of those, action and comedy. I'll start off with comedy. The comedy in this film is just terrible. It's a mixture of jokes for kids and jokes for adults. I don't know what this movie was pandering to. What is it, a kids movie because they actively swear at certain points and make jokes about sex and stuff? That's the adult jokes, but they weren't subtle. They were just out there. Any kid could be I wonder what sex is. It's not a kids movie by any means, but it's not an adult movie. There's so much kid jokes oh, look, these kids pissing in a shoe. Huh. Oh, look, these kids are screaming. No laughs at all. Just nothing. This film wasn't funny. One example of the comedy I can give is at one point in the movie, Dolph Lundgren's eating lunch, and he looks down at this kid's lunch, and he's like, oh, why doesn't anybody eat turkey sandwiches anymore? And their kids are like, oh, it's Meatless Monday. And I don't know whether that was supposed to be a joke. It wasn't. But then Dolph Lundgren's like, oh, I guess it's good that I brought a PB&J. And the kids are like, oh, what's a PB&J? And he said, peanut butter and jelly. And then the kids start screaming because one of the kids is like allergic to peanuts or something. So he just like is like, oh no, I'm gonna die. And then he just starts screaming and the kids are running around and it's just absolute pandemonium. At one point, Dolph Lundgren picks up the kid and he's like, what's your malfunction, kid? And it's just not funny. None of it is. I don't know whether or not that scene was supposed to convey comedy. I really hope it wasn't, but I feel like it was. Because the only thing this film made me laugh at was just how bad it was. And it wasn't even so bad it's good. I laughed at the fact that I had to watch this. The joke, I played the joke on myself. Okay, the action. Because action's a big part of an action comedy, right? This film's action is just plain. Like at one point, he's shooting behind like a vending machine. And it's just bam, bam. No style to it. No actual, like, coolness to it. He's just behind it, and he's just shooting. Like, a lot of action films, to really give them that edge, they introduce either something new or something stylistic in a sense. John Wick had the cool fight scenes with gun kata and stuff, and the set pieces. Undercover Brother, a comedy action film, but mostly a comedy, had some action parts in it. But the action in that was just a parody of, like, spy films, so it was good. But this film just... it was plain as heck. Like, he just shoots people and they fall down. I don't know what to talk about it. Nothing edged it out. Nothing enhanced it. It was just so plain. It was like a piece of bread. The only good part of this film, or at least when I felt any good in it, was when I was removing it from my watch list and thinking to myself, hey, if only Netflix had its rating system back, I'd rate this like 0 stars. And that made me laugh at myself a little bit. But that was it. I didn't feel any goodness watching this. This movie wasn't good at all. If you're, it's like a Saturday night and you're like, hey, what should I watch? Don't watch this movie. Don't watch Kindergarten Cop 2. Watch something else. Don't waste an hour and 40 minutes of your life watching a movie that's a sequel to like a 26-year-old film. Just don't do it. Watch something else. Watch Undercover Brother. Watch The 100. Watch anything else. I assure you, if you watch this film, the only feeling you'll be feeling is just anger at yourself for picking it. And maybe you can find something good in it. Maybe you can. I can't. I don't want to watch this film ever again. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to think about it. I just want it to be done. And it is done. I finished the movie, but it's not done. I'm still talking about it. It did something. But not anything good. I'm sorry I'm ending on such a negative note. Sorry, I like basically trashed to film this entire podcast, but this is a film I chose, and I regret watching it, but I had to talk about this film. I had to say how bad it was. So, hope you have a good day. Hope you had a good time listening to this. See you next time on the JarrettCast, I guess. I'm your host, Jarrett Lang, signing off. See you next time.